When I walked into Boston Medical Center to donate blood for $100, I thought I was just solving my immediate problem of avoiding eviction. As a struggling pre-med student working 3 jobs, that money meant the difference between keeping my apartment and sleeping in my car. I had no idea that the routine blood work would reveal genetic markers that would connect me to Alexander Sterling, the pharmaceutical billionaire who'd been searching for his missing daughter for 19 years. What started as the most desperate decision of my life became the discovery that I was worth $80 million and the rightful heir to a medical empire built in my name. Hi everyone, welcome to Life's Changing Stories. Now, let's dive into today's story. The eviction notice taped to Maya Fitzpatrick's apartment door felt like a death sentence as she stared at the bold red letters declaring, "Final notice, pay or quit," on this freezing December morning in Boston. As a 21-year-old pre-med student at Boston University, Maya had been surviving on a dangerous combination of determination, coffee, and optimism. But the harsh reality of rent, utilities, and textbook costs was finally catching up to her fragile financial situation. The $847 she owed for December rent might as well have been $470. Both amounts were equally impossible for someone whose bank account showed a balance of $23.60. Maya's hands shook as she unlocked her studio apartment, stepping over the pile of overdue bills that had been accumulating like autumn leaves since October. Her mother had raised her alone after her father disappeared when Maya was 2 years old, working double shifts as a hospital janitor to keep them afloat until cancer claimed her life during Maya's senior year of high school. The life insurance money had covered 1 year of college, but now Maya was entirely on her own, working at the campus bookstore, tutoring struggling freshmen, and cleaning laboratory equipment for professors who barely acknowledged her existence. The dream of becoming a doctor felt more impossible with each passing day as Maya calculated the crushing mathematics of survival. Medical school applications required money she didn't have, MCAT prep courses that cost more than 3 months of rent, and the luxury of focusing on studies instead of working 30 hours a week just to keep the lights on. But something deep in her soul refused to give up on the promise she'd made to her dying mother, that she would become the doctor their family had never been able to afford. Walking across the BU campus toward her morning biochemistry class, Maya spotted a bright yellow flyer on the Student Center bulletin board that would change everything. Earn $100, help save lives. Blood donation research study at Boston Medical Center. The money wasn't enough to solve all her problems, but it would buy her another week to find a miracle. And sometimes that's all hope required to survive. Maya sat in her freezing studio apartment, staring at the overdue bills spread across her tiny kitchen table like evidence of her failures. At 21, she was in her 3rd year of pre-med studies at Boston University, but the dream that had once seemed achievable now felt like an impossible luxury for someone whose bank account balance had dipped below $25. Maya worked 3 jobs to survive: stocking shelves at the campus bookstore, tutoring struggling biology students, and cleaning laboratory equipment for the chemistry department. Even with 30 hours of work each week, she barely covered rent, utilities, and the cheapest food possible. Ramen noodles had become her primary food group, and she hadn't bought new clothes in over a year. Her mother had died of cancer during Maya's senior year of high school, leaving behind just enough life insurance money to cover her first year of college. Maya's father had been absent since she was 2 years old, according to her mother, who had always been vague about the circumstances of his departure and reluctant to discuss their brief relationship. The old spark of ambition to become a doctor still burned inside Maya, despite the financial reality that seemed determined to extinguish it. Her mother had always encouraged her medical dreams, working double shifts as a hospital janitor and talking about how proud she would be to have a doctor in the family. On a particularly cold December evening, with rent overdue and her landlord threatening eviction, Maya walked past the student center and noticed a bright yellow flyer that caught her attention. Clinical research study, blood donation. Earn $100 per donation. $100 would cover her electric bill and buy groceries for 2 weeks. Maya's nursing prerequisites had taught her that blood donation was safe and she had no medical conditions that would disqualify her. Her roommate had already moved out due to financial pressures, leaving Maya responsible for the full rent amount that she simply couldn't afford. Without allowing herself to reconsider, Maya headed to Boston Medical Center that evening. The research wing of Boston Medical Center was brighter and more modern than Maya had expected. The receptionist, a warm woman in her 50s with genuine kindness in her eyes, greeted Maya with a smile that made her feel less like a desperate college student selling her blood and more like a valued research participant. Maya completed extensive paperwork, pausing at the section asking about family medical history and inherited conditions. Her mother's side was straightforward: diabetes, heart disease, and the cancer that had claimed her life. But her father remained a complete mystery. Her mother had told her only that his name was David Liu and that he had left when Maya was too young to remember him. The donation process was surprisingly comfortable. Maya watched her blood flow through clear tubes into sophisticated equipment that separated the plasma from the red blood cells before returning them to her body. The technician, a friendly graduate student, commented on Maya's excellent veins and calm demeanor. "You're handling this better than most people," the technician observed. "Have you done this before?" "First time," Maya replied. "I guess desperation makes you brave." Maya received $100 on a prepaid card, enough to keep her electricity on and buy real food for the first time in weeks. She scheduled another donation for the following week, hoping to gradually catch up on her overdue bills. She had no idea that this decision would have consequences beyond anything she could imagine. The next afternoon, while Maya was working her shift at the campus bookstore, her phone rang with a call from an unknown Boston number. She almost didn't answer, assuming it was another debt collector or telemarketer. "Maya Fitzpatrick?" The voice was professional, female, and carried an urgency that made Maya's stomach clench with worry. "Yes, this is Maya. This is Dr. Patricia Reynolds from Boston Medical Center. I need to speak with you regarding your blood work from yesterday's donation. Could you come in this afternoon? It's quite important." Maya's heart sank, immediately assuming she had tested positive for some terrible disease. "Is everything okay? Did I contaminate something?" "Nothing like that," Dr. Reynolds assured her. "But I really need to discuss this with you in person. Are you available in 2 hours?" 3 hours later, Maya sat nervously in a conference room at Boston Medical Center, facing Dr. Reynolds and 3 other doctors in white coats. The room felt intimidatingly official, with medical journals and research certificates covering the walls. Dr. Reynolds began carefully. "Maya, your blood contains some extremely rare genetic markers that we've been searching for in our research on inherited medical conditions. These markers are so uncommon that we've only seen them in one other family in our database." Maya felt confused rather than relieved. "I don't understand. Is this about some genetic disease I might have? Are you familiar with Sterling Pharmaceuticals and the Sterling Medical Research Institute?" Dr. Reynolds asked. Maya nodded. Every pre-med student knew about Sterling Pharmaceuticals, one of the largest drug development companies in the world, founded 30 years earlier by Alexander Sterling, after he lost his wife and daughter in a tragic accident. The Sterling Institute had developed treatments for rare genetic disorders funded by Sterling's personal fortune. Your genetic markers match the Sterling family profile exactly, Dr. Reynolds continued, which is remarkable because Alexander Sterling has been searching for his daughter for 19 years. Another doctor leaned forward. Mr. Sterling's wife and 2-year-old daughter were in a car accident in 2004. His wife died instantly, and the little girl survived but disappeared from the hospital before Sterling recovered from his own injuries. The child's maternal grandmother took her and vanished. Maya stared at them in disbelief. My father's name is David Liu. That's what's on my birth certificate. Dr. Reynolds nodded gently. Your genetic markers tell a different story. We'd like to show you something. The third doctor handed Maya a news article with a photograph of an elderly man with silver hair and intense eyes that looked eerily familiar. Alexander Sterling stood next to a hospital bed, announcing a new treatment for pediatric cancer. Alexander Sterling has been searching for his daughter for almost 2 decades, Dr. Reynolds explained. He was in a medically induced coma for months after the accident. When he recovered, his child had disappeared completely. He spent millions trying to find her. Maya shook her head. I'm just a pre-med student with overdue rent. You've made a mistake. The genetic evidence is overwhelming, Dr. Reynolds said softly. Mr. Sterling would very much like to meet you. As Maya left the hospital, her mind was reeling with possibilities that seemed too incredible to accept. She walked to her apartment in a daze, wondering if the stress of financial pressure had finally caused her to hallucinate. A sleek black car with a professional driver was waiting outside her building. Miss Fitzpatrick, the driver asked politely. Mr. Sterling landed early and would like to meet you immediately if you're available. Maya found herself in the back of the luxury vehicle being driven to the Four Seasons Hotel in downtown Boston. The penthouse suite overlooked Boston Harbor, and standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows was the man from the newspaper photograph. Alexander Sterling turned when she entered, studying her face with an intensity that made Maya feel self-conscious about her thrift store clothes and tired appearance. You have your mother's smile, he said quietly, his voice thick with emotion. But those are definitely Sterling eyes. Alexander explained that he had never stopped searching for her, following every lead and hiring the best investigators money could buy. Maya's grandmother had changed their names and moved frequently, always staying one step ahead of his efforts to locate them. Maya shared what little she knew about her childhood, including her grandmother's claims that her father had abandoned them and blamed Maya for the accident that killed her mother. Alexander's face grew pained. I loved your mother more than anything in this world. I've thought about you every single day for 19 years. He handed Maya a bank statement showing a trust fund balance of $80 million. This trust was established the day you were born, Alexander explained. It matured on your 21st birthday last month. I always hoped I would find you to give it to you personally. Maya stared at the number, unable to process its reality. I can't accept this. You don't even know me. You're my daughter, Alexander replied simply. And I know more than you think. You're studying to become a doctor, working 3 jobs to pay for school, and you donated blood yesterday because you needed money for rent. Those are the actions of someone with character and determination. He then offered her something even more valuable than money, a position as a research coordinator at the Sterling Medical Research Institute, along with full medical school tuition and a guaranteed residency placement. I need someone who understands both the science and the human element, he explained. Someone with academic knowledge and genuine compassion for patients. Maya thought about her mother's dreams, her own struggles, and the impossible path that had led her to this moment. I'd want to finish my undergraduate degree first, she said, recognizing her determination was something she'd inherited from both parents. Alexander smiled, seeing his own stubborn persistence reflected in his daughter's response. Today, Maya works as the Chief Medical Officer of Sterling Medical Research Institute, having completed her MD from Harvard Medical School. Her unique genetic markers have helped develop treatments for previously untreatable rare diseases, saving thousands of lives worldwide. Her office wall displays 3 framed items: her last ATM receipt, showing a balance of $23.08, her first blood donation record from Boston Medical Center, and a family photograph taken at her medical school graduation, with Alexander beaming proudly beside her. Alexander often tells Maya's story to young researchers, emphasizing her character during the hardest times. "My daughter faced poverty with dignity," he says. "When she had nothing left to give, she still asked how she could help others." That blood donation wasn't just about making rent. It was about her fundamental desire to contribute to medical science, even when she was desperate. The story concludes with Alexander's favorite observation: life's biggest miracles often begin with the smallest choices. Maya donated blood to avoid eviction, but what she really did was donate hope. Hope that led to healing for thousands of patients and reunion for a family that had been broken for too long. Maya keeps her mother's photograph on her desk as a reminder that dreams deferred are not always dreams denied. Sometimes they're just dreams waiting for the right moment to transform into something more beautiful than we ever imagined possible. The Sterling Medical Research Institute has become a leader in rare disease treatment, with Maya spearheading patient-centered research that combines cutting-edge science with compassionate care. Her unique perspective as someone who experienced poverty while pursuing medical dreams has shaped the Institute's approach to ensuring that breakthrough treatments remain accessible to all patients, regardless of their ability to pay. Alexander's search for his daughter had cost him millions of dollars over 19 years, but Maya's discovery has been worth infinitely more. The treatments developed using her genetic markers have generated breakthrough therapies that have saved countless lives and restored hope to families facing devastating diagnoses. Years later, when Maya speaks to struggling pre-med students, she shares the lesson that her journey taught her. Sometimes the things we do out of desperation turn out to be exactly what the world needs from us. I donated blood because I needed $100 for rent, but that decision led to medical discoveries that help children around the world. You never know when your smallest act of courage will change everything. The Blood Donation Center at Boston Medical Center now displays a plaque honoring Maya's contribution to medical research, reminding future donors that their participation might lead to discoveries they cannot imagine. Maya visits regularly, not as a donor anymore, but as a researcher who understands that medical miracles often begin with ordinary people making extraordinary choices when they have no other options. Alexander Sterling's pharmaceutical empire had been built on the promise of finding his missing daughter and using science to heal the kind of devastating losses his family had experienced. Maya's return didn't just complete his personal mission, it validated his life's work and proved that love, science, and determination could overcome even the most impossible circumstances. The trust fund that had grown to $80 million over 21 years was just the beginning of Maya's inheritance. More importantly, she inherited a medical legacy, a research institute dedicated to rare diseases, and the opportunity to honor her mother's memory by becoming the doctor their family had always dreamed of having. Today, when Maya sees struggling students working multiple jobs to afford their education, she remembers the desperation that led her to donate blood for rent money. The Sterling Medical Research Institute now offers full scholarships to promising students from low-income backgrounds, ensuring that financial hardship never forces another brilliant mind to abandon their dreams of healing others. Maya's story proves that miracles don't always arrive as dramatic interventions. Sometimes they come disguised as practical solutions to immediate problems. A blood donation for rent money became a family reunion, a medical breakthrough, and a reminder that our greatest discoveries often happen when we're simply trying to survive another day. We hope you enjoyed today's story of love, life, and betrayal. For more free stories and entertainment from our channel, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe with notifications.